switch to my headset again, so there we go, back again. Even my chatbot is working now, amazingly enough. So, hang on. Ow! There we go. Should be back. DVR, that's not good. Okay, check settings for stream. Oh, okay. Am I back or not? Switch back here. Let's refresh this. Okay, a few seconds of that should do the job. And tell me if I'm live or not. Okay, we're good. Or, well, as good as we're going to get. Awesome. I took the opportunity to eat a handful of red licorice while I was at that. Yep, there you are, says Didger. Thanks, Didger. Perfect. Okay. So we were doing this, and I need this. Oh, no, we're good. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that's good. Now, I was just about to grab this other, I think it was a French story. Did I... Oh, hang on. Let me see. Did I have the link tabbed out or not? No. Okay. That's not it. That's France. Oh, don't tell me I lost that UN one, because that one's fucking hilarious. Police in Germany. Okay, this is a French. There's the one I was looking for. There's a French one. Okay. So this one comes from Visegrad24. I'll throw them a follow. Breaking. A French court rules that the 67-year-old Senegalese migrant Ousmane Diallo can't be held criminally responsible for killing 18-year-old Theo. Ousmane became furious in a mobile phone shop after having been told he would have to pay €93 for calls made to Senegal. He stabbed Theo in the chest on one of his first days on the job. The court ruled that Ousmane is mentally ill, and will be sent to a psychiatric hospital instead until he recovers. Stabbed a kid over a phone bill. Mentally ill. If he's that mentally ill, maybe you shouldn't put him in an institution so much as in a ground. Yeah. Name the judge, please. Yeah. Muslims will not assimilate. They will invade, saturate, and terrorize the West to port Islam before it kills you. Yeah. You think you're being tolerant, inclusive, and open-minded. You're actually being conquered. Yep. Okay, fine, as long as he goes straight to prison when he recovers. No, no. I'm past the point of, oh, we need to deport them. And there is a Rupert Lowe story coming up about deportations. No, I'm past the point of deportations. If you come to another country and you kill a citizen of that country, you don't get to go back to your own country. You don't get to go to another country. You go in the ground. Yeah, either society punishes criminals or criminals punish society. Yep. Let's see. Trying to stay away from the Canada stuff because I've got quite a lot of it today. Oh, here's one. This is the UN story I was looking for. Yeah, apparently we're out of water on the planet. No, I'm not fucking joking. From Bernie, Artemis for now. And I'll throw a follow that way. The UN is out of control. The Earth has not hit water bankruptcy. There is no material difference in the amount of water on Earth. It isn't, quote, running out. It's a closed hydrological system. Well, it's not 100% closed, but we're not losing water. If anything, we're gaining it. Hydrogen and oxygen atoms are all we need for water. So, meaning the same water cycles through ocean, vapor, ice, and rivers. If billions lack safe drinking water, then that's down to the idiocy of man, including infrastructure, corruption, and governments. The UN has declared Earth has entered a period of water bankruptcy that is likely impossible to reverse. Gee, could it be that they just want to be able to say, no, you can't have this water because you're a damn dirty capitalist? You don't agree with our political views? Yeah. There's the response. Listen for the click. Yeah. As always, it's just blah 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 crisis. Now give us unlimited neo-Bolshevik powers to control the production, distribution, and consumption of everything. Terry John Kerr says the UN are criminals. I actually have another Terry John Kerr link here. So when I find that, that'll be the next story. I think. Though that'll probably be a Canadian story then. So we'll just have to deal with that. Okay, I can't find it. So we'll go back to Britain briefly. This one's cute. I'm not even going to make a comment. I'm simply going to show you the meme. Now, I will comment on what this meme means. This is an African migrant who, for whatever reason, decided to stand at a woman's door and stare at her through the window. So this is what you will get with Labour, Green, or Reform. Apparently Restore is a little different. Show of hands if you think the UN needs to be disbanded entirely. I've only got the 2, but you can have those. The UN is as useless as NATO, which is itself as useless as tits on a bull at this point. Excuse me. Canadian. Oh, there's that Terry John Kerr one I was looking for. This one is in response to Matt Genereux crossing the floor, so this is kind of broader than just Canada. Party crossing without an election should be illegal. Yeah. It absolutely should. If you leave the party that you were elected to represent by your constituents, you should absolutely immediately trigger a by-election. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's how it works here in Newfoundland. I don't know why it doesn't work that way federally. But then again, the Canadian system is so bent. Okay. Since we're on the North American continent, and this guy is an absolute traitor to it, let's talk about Bernie. Not Madoff, Sanders. Just a scammy. So, from the leading report, I thought I was following them. Bernie Sanders on the Save America Act, he says he does not have his birth certificate or know how to get one. Immediate triggering of election. Yeah, absolutely. I think on most of the provincial levels it should do that. But let's talk about the Save America Act is, of course, the government bill intended to force everybody to be required to have and present an ID in order to vote. In other words, to prove that you're a citizen of the country.
Now, you're not talking about voter ID. That's the way Trump defines it. But you're talking about, I don't know about California's issue, but I do know what's going on in Washington. Is that some geniuses think that before you can, maybe you have it wrong, you have to register to vote, you need a passport or your birth.
Forgot to turn on the desktop audio again, sorry.
Do you have passport or your birth certificate?
At the moment?
Do you? Voter ID, that's the way Trump defines it. But you're talking about, now I don't know about California, it's an issue, but I do know what's going on in Washington, is that some geniuses think that before you can, maybe I have it wrong here, register to vote, you need a passport or your birth certificate. Do you have a passport?
Sorry. I opened the... Yeah, thanks, Didger. Bernie Sanders, the only millionaire communist who got kicked out of a commune. Yeah. I mean, he's stupid like AOC. Well, he's stupid in a different way. And also, for fuck's sakes, Bernie, you didn't save enough money. You don't have enough money that you can afford a full set of pants. And yeah, I've got the audio fixed. Sorry about that. Thank you for the heads up about that, by the way. Also, yeah, that's a great way to warn me, is that spinning light. That'll get my attention. So it isn't just birth certificate or your passport. Social insurance card, driver's license, all of these things are used as ID that can prove you're a citizen of the country. Well, not necessarily citizen of the country, but for voter ID, it's fine. Yeah.
What are your birth certificate?
At the moment?
Do you?
I do. I know.
Now, he's challenge this reporter. Do you have your passport? As if it's unusual for people to carry their passport or to have a passport. I personally don't have one at the moment, but inside of 6 weeks I could have one. And I do know how to get one. Same for if my birth certificate were to get damaged or destroyed.
But millions of people don't. I don't have my birth certificate. God knows how I get it.
How
Now,
you
you're not
feel-
talking about voter ID. That's
Bernie Sanders, who is a millennium old, doesn't know how to get his birth certificate. Bullshit. And don't try and bullshit me that you don't have your passport, Bernie. Let's see. Get longer pants, bro. Jesus. Yeah, right? I mean, fuck's sakes, man. You're a millionaire. I mean, before he was a millionaire, he used to say that millionaires weren't paying their fair share. And then once he made his first million, it was, well, billionaires aren't paying their fair share. Goyam. Jesus. I found it using Google, Bernie. Google. Yeah. I have an application to get my birth certificate, just never printed it and sent it in. Yeah, and that's just a reprint. Right? I mean, anybody with a lick of sense. Bernie works in fucking government. He should have someone in his office as a representative. Actually, I'm not sure if he's still a representative, but regardless, when he was a rep, he would have had someone in his office to help his constituents get government documentation like that. Fuck off, Bernie. You're full of shit. Nick Freitas. I don't care what socialists think about anything. Also, if you're not following Nick Freitas, please do. If you're that window-licking stupid, you should be deported based as hell. That's a lie, and he knows it. Zip it, Democrat. You and your shitty domestic terrorist party are no longer taken seriously. At minimum, he at least has a passport since he likely needed one to travel to the Vatican. Yeah. Here you go. Easy as 1, 2, 3. Get your birth certificate delivered straight to your home, and you can push this fucking button on Gov+. Isn't that crazy? Here it is. Date of birth 9/8/1941. Certificate number 25449. Shit, is that Bernie's? Sanders. Bernard. Bernie. Dude. Like, come on. It's a matter of public fucking record. Weird, but Mondami said you need an ID to get paid to be an emergency shoveler in New York City this week. Yeah. Yeah. Apparently you don't need an ID to vote, but you do need one to sign up to be a shovel holder. What do we got here? I thought I saw something from Newsfist a second ago. Well, since we're talking about Mamdani, let's talk about Mamdani. Holy shit, this guy's insanely dangerous. Didger says I have my SIN card. For those of you who don't know, that's the social insurance number. Around here somewhere, but then I memorized the number when I was 5. Yeah, I think I got mine when I was 16, and I've had the number memorized that whole time. Yeah. Because that was when I got my first job. Well, first government paid job. First job that required unemployment insurance and all that stuff to come out. Zohran Mamdani on why he wants to empty all jails. Violence is an artificial construct. That's from Doge News. I'll say that again because it's a quote. Violence is an artificial construct. I'll grant that maybe English isn't your first language, but fuck me, dude. How the fuck are you that stupid? Excuse me, I knew it was going to be bad, but this guy really is the worst thing that has ever happened to New York City. He's making room for all the white men he will jail for being heretical to anti-whiteism. That's probably quite true. Let's see. There we go. The rally to free our people. Oh, apparently there's a humanitarian crisis in Rikers Island now. Well, it's an old jail. Maybe you should just build a new one. Decarcerate now. Oh my God. Free them. You people are insane.
Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a house.
Burglary is a violent crime, you dumb son of a bitch. How do you think they got into the building? They didn't trespass, they had to burgle it. Words mean things, you fucking dolt. Didger, so we've only ever imagined theft, murder, and 2 world wars? Cool. When are all our dead friends and relatives coming back?
Housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction. And we have to be very clear that what is happening here with these...
Okay. So he used the words, violence is an artificial construction, when what he should have said was, in the legal context. And he'd still be a dolt and an idiot for saying it because it's simply not true.
District attorneys, that is violence. That is violence of the highest degree.
Oh, hang on.
Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go, that is violence of the highest, with art of burglary, and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction.
Okay, so he's using words that he doesn't... He's probably just spouting. Because what he's saying here, listen to the premise he's putting forward.
Stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling.
People accused of burglary when there's a housing unit in that same dwelling. Dude, there's a difference between the word building and dwelling. You didn't use it here. You are not an articulate speaker. You are not eloquent. You are potentially not even fluent in the English fucking language. Let's see. Fun fact, there's an outside chant Zoroaster mud mummy. Maybe Jeffrey Epstein saw... Oh. I won't say there's no family resemblance, or no potential family resemblance. Everyone in New York should start punching each other in the face and yell, I'm not hitting you, I'm not hitting you. Guys just leaping off of lampposts, elbowing each other in the head, screaming, violence is an artificial construct. Yeah.
So violence is an artificial construction. And we have to be very clear that what is happening here with these...
Oh yeah, no, just let all the violent criminals out of jail and you'll learn very quickly how violence is not an artificial construct. Promises of socialism, the reality of socialism, yeah. While the Iranian people are risking their lives to escape Islamist tyranny, New Yorkers are welcoming it. Yep. Democrats have chosen illegals, criminals, and terrorists over U.S. citizens. New York City has a new kind of dummy, a ma'am dummy. Let's see. In the New York City mayor race, George Soros channeled $40 million to back Zohran Mamdani's bid to become the first Islamic Marxist mayor. Why would he do that? Los Angeles, check. San Francisco, check. New York, check. Washington, check. Philadelphia, check. Chicago, check. Yeah. And that's the Soros-funded DAs, district attorneys. Let's see. I still hate communism and socialism, even after they started calling it liberal and progressive. Yeah. Here's Dummy. Yep. Before, I will take care of you. Bitch, you better get a job to cover the rent. Yep. Trump is getting all his boats in place. Iran is almost out of time. Yeah, apparently Iran's going to be invaded or attacked in the next day or so. We can take that one out. We covered that. That's slightly retarded. This is very retarded. Check this out. A new anti-white ad. So this is from the General 1776, or sorry, 1776 General _ on X.
What do you mean we're lucky to be white?
It's not luck.
It's hard fucking work on the part of our ancestors, you stupid bitch.
It's privilege.
We're privileged that people see us, not a color.
What are you fucking talking about? When people say, I hate all white people, you think they're not seeing white, seeing color? You know white is the presence of all colors, right? Dolt.
Privilege that we don't get stared at when we walk into the room.
Depends on the room you're walking into. I get stared at. I'm fine with it. I like being the center of attention. Why do you think I'm doing this fucking job?
Privilege that we don't get followed by security when we go shopping.
Bullshit. That depends on what you're wearing. As someone who used to wear a trench coat, I can guarantee you it doesn't matter if you're white, you will get followed. Also, if you walk in a room looking like or into a store looking like an absolute cracked out meth head, you will get looked at by security because you look untrustworthy and sketchy as fuck.
Or pulled over when we're in the wrong neighborhood.
You think black people get pulled over because they're in the wrong neighborhood? Yeah, see, this is why your side is trying to have the body cams taken away again? Because it actually shows that that's all bullshit?
Privilege because society was set up for us.
Society was set up for us. Society was built by us. Fucking retards. This is apparently at Wesley for Texas. I'm going to assume if this is a fucking campaign ad for somebody, I'm going to look at Wesley for Texas.
And our silence keeps it in place.
We're privileged, and that's unfair.
Who's privileged? You never met a poor white person? Fuck off. We're lucky we're white. No, we're not lucky we're white. Okay, let's have a look at this at Wesley for Texas. I want to see if this is just a Wesley Hunt for U.S. Senate. Ooh. And he claims to be an America First fighter. Let's see. Do you have campaign ads? Oh, fuck. He's actually MAGA? Really? Do they have the, let me see here. Oh, hang on. Let me just grab this website and put it over here so you guys can see it. Let's see. Socialism is great until it runs out of other people's money. White trash is a real thing, and there it is. Yeah. We'll just close this. In all my life, I've never known anyone or even overheard anyone say the words, cops pulled me over because I was in the wrong neighborhood, ever. No, and when I used to wear a trench coat and smoke a fuck ton of pot, I got stopped by a cop once and asked for ID. Because I was trying to find a friend's house, and I was so stoned I couldn't remember what it looked like. And I told the cop that, and the cop said, well, you're gonna have to move on home. And I went, yeah, fair, I understand why I look suspicious. Because I'm looking at different houses going, is this where I was? Yeah, no, perfectly understandable. Hunt. His name rhymes with it. Okay, Wesley. Let's, press inquiries, shop, signed hat raffle. Join our movement, not a fucking chance. Wesley Hunt was born and raised in Houston, Texas, in a military family and is a proud St. John's School alumnus. Well, I don't give a fuck. Wesley on the issue, supporting Trump, cutting fraud and waste, securing our border, fighting the left's woke agenda. The woke mind virus spread widely. Okay, no, I'm going to say that this guy, this at Wesley for Texas, is probably just somebody reposting. So we'll leave that alone. But it is an insufferable new woke anti-white ad. And if it's this fellow that I just talked about, the black guy, if it's his campaign that's put out this response to this ad, perfect. Anti-whiteism is the real pandemic. Absolutely, Tree. Also, the Tree Godfather is another good follow over on X. New Genesis says, total Marxist communist. Woke. Sorry, redundancy. Horse shit. Mooish nonsense, indeed. Suwireen. Whites who hate being white and other whites and whiteness itself are traitors to their white genome and all their white ancestors. They are the stuff of what you step in when you visit a dog park, but much worse. Very stinky, slimy, disgusting people. And, yeah, this is absolutely hilarious. This is Wikipedia's definitions of various terms. Black pride is defined as a movement encouraging people to take pride in being black. Gay pride, or LGBT pride, is the positive stance against discrimination and violence toward lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people to promote their self-affirmation, dignity, blah, blah, fucking blah, blah. Asian pride. In the United States, Asian pride, also spelled AZN pride, is a positive stance to being Asian American. White pride. White pride is a slogan primarily used by white separatist, white nationalist, neo-Nazi, and white supremacist organizations to signal their racist viewpoints. That's right. We're not allowed to be proud. It's a real shame I am, in fact, a proud white man. This is me waiting for the privileges of being white, right? If you're a white Democrat, insufferable ad, it is okay to be white. No, it's fucking awesome. It's called being blessed, kind of like being American by birth, but Southern by the grace of God. Fucking never change, Mordecai. I'm sorry, officer. Being quiet sometimes. Not joining a gang. Behaving yourself. Yeah. Yeah, but that's privilege. It's not white privilege. If you work hard, don't commit any crimes, and be respectful of other people, you too can be privileged no matter what color you are. Stupid people don't know they're stupid. It's true. White saviors see themselves. How much white guilt you got? 0. Let's just blow that up while I'm hunting for the next story here. Oh, yeah, this one. Police in Germany have had quite enough as well. And you already know it's the usual suspects. So, or one of the pairs of usual suspects from Sassafras 84. It's about time that there is pushback against these people. Now, I'm not 100% sure what's happening here because I don't speak German. I love 0 bars. Actually, yeah, the dark ones are actually pretty good. I haven't had them in friggin' years. I don't know if I've even seen them in stores lately. It's kind of like Thrills gum. You know, the gum that a lot of people say tastes like soap. I suspect it's meant to be cilantro flavored. It does taste like soap to me too, but I actually don't mind that particular flavor. The police in Germany have had enough. I think that's the opening 2 lines to Du Hast by No. I do love how this cop reacts to this guy trying to stop him from doing his job. Get the fuck out of the way. Now, I'm guessing from what happens here that there is a single individual who needed to be removed from this group, and the cops went in to get him. This guy is still trying to wrestle with the cop. Yeah. And the cop is like, are you fucking retarded? But of course, we have to have the tiny female, who puts herself right out front. Get in the back, or stay in the office, where you're fucking safe. So they're obviously arresting this fella for some reason. Now, watch her face. She is about to realize she is completely unequipped to be where she is. She's in the way. These guys are trying to form a wall, and she is in the fucking way. Get the fuck out of that job, woman. You don't belong there. And she's gone. And she's been pushed into irrelevance. It's like this one. This one is a bit more sturdy looking, but still. I just want to go back. This guy that just got shoved over here, this fella right here. I just want to watch what he does. Does he attempt to get through by the woman? Yeah. He decided to target the female cop rather than go after one of the males. What a piece of shit. And another good reason women shouldn't be there. Thrills, ugh. It's at the gas station across the road. They can keep it too. Hast. Du hast. Du hast the mesh. Yeah, little girls off the police force. Yeah. And what we need to do, I don't have an issue necessarily with women wanting to serve, but they have to be capable of it. Whether it's military, police, firefighter, whatever. Bring the physical standards back up. I probably wouldn't qualify for the original physical standards for most things. I know I wouldn't make the Newfoundland Ranger Force because I'm 3 inches too fucking short. I'm 5'8". You need to be 5'11" or 6 feet. One or the other. So right there I'd have been disqualified from the Newfoundland Ranger Force. But those physical requirements need to be there. At 6 feet, you're physically imposing just based on your height. Plus, you have the ability to see shit over the top of other people's heads. So there's that. My nephew is here. Give me just a second. I'm going to mute my mic and switch to my headset. Okay, you guys can hear me now. GETTR says the blueprint for not having women. Let me take that down. The blueprint for not having women on the police force was on painful display when that cop got stabbed in the neck in Germany. So much fail. He should still be alive. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I remember that as well. But I mean, you're distracted by the guy. What's this one doing? She's in high vis, so the cops kind of half ignore her, but she's got one of those keffiyehs on. Where's she going? Now, granted, she's not going to do shit back there, because also she's a woman. But this is completely inadequate job. That woman does not belong there. Start beating the crap out of them, it's all they will understand. Just tell them they can't live in your country anymore. Tell them to fuck off and make it stick. Yes, the world is finally getting the picture. It's time America follows suit. Rise up, men of the West. Yeah. Hans gets a Flammenwerfer. It's a heavy Flammenwerfer. Is this Mandani again? No, this is some twit in fucking Chicago. Excuse me. So from Dr. Maloof, who's also a good follow, I think. Yeah, he's a news guy. We did not come here to coexist. This is Palestinian Islamic scholar in Chicago, Mohammed Nusrayat. We are superior to everyone else and will not be surpassed. No one is above us. If other religions want to live with us, they have to worship Allah. That makes them not another religion, you supposedly intellectual superior. Yeah, just listen to this. This is Men of the Ummah, whatever the Ummah is.
Unfortunately, these days we don't repeat this enough, or we don't have this.
Also, you are a fucking ugly man. Your ears are far too big, your nose is far too long, and your face looks squishy. That's my ass saying that.
Aqidah concept firm in our minds that Islam did not come to coexist.
Yeah, when your enemy is telling you who they are, fucking listen to them.
Islam is Islam لا يعلى. الإسلام يعلو ولا يعلى عليه. And Islam is raised high and nothing is raised above Islam. We can't think of Islam that it came to live with these other religions in the sense that Islam is a religion amongst those religions and they have a share with the truth. And they have a share of justice. And they have a share of, this worship of Allah, the correct worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Islam came to correct all of that.
Sure it did. If she had a knife, she could do a lot, actually. That's a fair point. She doesn't. I think knives are kind of illegal to carry on the streets in Germany. We are superior. No one is above us. Still fucks goats and marries children in the 21st century. Worships a warlord. Yeah. Slave-keeping warlord. Yeah.
Islam came to remove the oppression of all those religions.
And substitute their own.
And it is the only truth.
For a Muslim.
It is the only way to justice.
For a Muslim. Yeah. And yeah, that's actually the name of this fucking account. Islam rejects coexistence. Islam didn't arrive to live alongside other faiths, but to supersede them as the sole path to truth and justice, correcting their flaws. Yeah. Populate, dominate, eliminate. Yep. Muslims do not assimilate. Yeah. Neglect your house and this will take over. Neglect your country, this takes over. Yep. 1430, 1760, 1903, 2024. You're not being tolerant, you're not being inclusive, you're being conquered. Deportations take too long, hear me out. I'm with Vlad. Good guy, Vlad. He knew. Bad neighbors make great fences. 85% of the world's refugees are Muslim. Not one of the 56 Muslim countries are taking in refugees. 11 of these countries are the richest in the world. Pay attention. You think they're not taking them in because they don't trust them, or because they know they'll be more useful elsewhere? Yeah. Running out of non-Canadian stuff, I think. Let's see. Still Canadian. Oh, there's news first. Oh no, that's Canada. There we are. Based Hungary has one for us. Okay, from Based Hungary, Hungary-based, following. AFD's Alice Weidel declares Germany is finished with migrants. Within 100 days, I will close borders, eliminate subsidies for migrants, and carry out Germany's largest deportations. I will say, female, a woman speaking German in reverse actually sounds kind of melodic. What?
Wir haben die Antworten. Wir haben einen Plan. Wir haben einen Zukunftsplan für Deutschland, den wir in den ersten 100 Tagen einer Regierungsbeteiligung angehen. Die Grenzen lückenlos schließen und jeden illegal und ohne Papiere Einreisenden zurückweisen. Und eine ganz klare Ansage an alle Welt: Die deutschen Grenzen sind dicht, liebe Freunde. Sie sind dicht. Die Versorgung von Asylbewerbern von Geld auf Sachleistungen umstellen. Sozialleistungen für Nicht-Aufenthaltsberechtigte streichen und Rückführung im großen
so what she's
Stil
saying is basically cut benefits, repatriate those who aren't willing to assimilate, etc., etc. Finally, an end to suicidal empathy, self-preservation is rising. Yeah, in case you haven't noticed, the reason that a lot of Canadian politicians are angry at X is because this is where we're getting together to say, we're starting to see that we've had enough of it, and we're not alone. Let's see. Well, first she has to do something about all the retarded liberal assholes, same as everywhere. Yeah, Germany. Woman convicted of offending migrant gang rapists receives longer prison sentence than the rapist. Same thing happened recently in the UK as well. Stop giving them benefits; they'll deport themselves. That one's no. I'm not. I don't even want to listen to that one. Let's see. Scrolling up. This is Canada. Canada. Okay. Oh, that's the UK. Oh, remember Alex Phillips from the other day? The one who wanted to call Restore racist but couldn't, so she had to tell people to start saying the quiet part out loud that only she was hearing? Remember, kids, only dogs hear dog whistles. Yeah, this one's
grown up politics. It's just
actually, let me back that off. This is from Basil the Great again. Hi, Basil. Alex Phillips says Rupert Lowe is turning into the Andrew Tate of politics. He's a pimp and a kickboxer. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily be against watching Rupert Lowe beat the shit out of Nigel Farage in a fucking boxing ring. It's stinking moronic idiocy of people living in weird chat rooms. It's become an angry young men's strange circulatory squat. Is she losing her mind? No, Basil. She's not losing her mind. She never had one to start with. Clearly.
It's just gibberish.
Yeah. Oh, of course, it's just gibberish because you don't understand it or you disagree with it. So you're going to obfuscate whether or not it's actually something you could work to understand.
Not grown up politics. It's absolute BS. It's stinking moronic idiocy of people who live in weird chat rooms. It's becoming some of these followers. His followers are turning him into the Andrew Tate of politics.
You do know Andrew Tate got extremely popular because he told men it was okay to be men. And Rupert Lowe told white straight men it was okay to be white straight men. So you're drawing that correlation and trying to, tar him by association. Yeah, no, that's female reputation destruction. Doesn't work on men.
Become an angry young men's sort of, I don't know, strange circulatory squad. Yeah.
What the fuck is a circulatory squat? From the looks of you, you don't do a lot of squats. Liberals can't surrender hard enough, apparently. Yeah, you're not wrong, Didger. Speaking of, before I come to Canada, actually, I think I'm pretty much done everywhere else. That's Canada. That's Canada. That's Canada. I am, in fact, done everywhere else, so we are, in fact, coming to Canada. Let's see. Surrender, surrender, surrender. There's the one we're looking for. We'll start with this one. And again, you were fucking warned by loads of people about this category. From the Black Horse. To be honest, they can have that territory as long as they all move there and we have a hard border. Even though the randomly selected territory is over, bad spelling, immensely rich natural resources, the arrangement would be, there's no A in infinitely, preferable to today. It would also be gone within a century. Well, first off, you're fooling yourself. Second of all, here's what we're looking at. This is, just a second, from the Dharma Times, replying to White Paper's Paul. We need an independent Khalistan in Canada. So that what they've done is taken the imaginary map of Khalistan and imposed it on Canada. The issue I have with the Black Horse's response to this is they can have that territory. No, they fucking can't. They didn't do anything to earn it. Fuck you. Right? So long as they all move there. They won't. And we have a hard border. We might set one. They won't. And they'll try crossing it over and over and over again. Obviously. Even though the randomly selected territory, it's not randomly selected if it's over immense natural resources. Now is it? Twit. The arrangement would be infinitely preferable to today. No, you know what would be infinitely preferable to today? Fucking bouncing them out of our country so they can go fight for independence in their own. And it would also be gone within a century. How the fuck do you know that? And a lot of the people in this, Rupert Lowe is the man of the hour, says Didger, and he needs to be guarded at all times. Farage will accomplish nothing other than containing the right long enough to allow the left to become almost insurmountable. Yeah. This idea that it would be gone within a century. Everybody seems to think India is some kind of tropical country. Parts of it are, but have you forgotten parts of it are in the fucking Himalayas? You think the cold's going to bother all these people? It'd be fucking retarded. Given the density in Punjab, they can all fit in a metro area the size of Edmonton, preferably in the Arctic Circle. We don't need to let them be here. Or, and hear me out, they can go back to wherever the bum-fuckistan they came from. Thank you. And enjoy living there. Yeah, you can also commit injustice by doing nothing, said Marcus Aurelius. See that island right at the top of the map? Put Khalistan there and keep them there for 5 years. See how they do. Or not allow that to happen at all. Yeah, I prefer the second option there. Our Raj 2.0 would have that be Canadian again in 15 months, tops. Who's going to be the soldiers for this Raj? No, they can have some prime real estate in the mid-Atlantic. No, they can't, because that's fucking pollution. Or they can go back to India. Yeah, fuck off home. Let's see. Give them the north. They won't last a week and prefer going back to India where they belong. Why do you think these people don't like the cold? They fight the Chinese in the fucking mountains of the Himalayas. For fuck's sakes, people. We are not surrendering sovereign white lands to a bunch of subhumans. Amen. Well. Speaking of the state of Canada, since we're into Canada now, Canada, as an entire country, is now poorer than the single state of Alabama. That's right. Canada is now poorer than Alabama. Our GDP is lower. Canada is the second, this is from Wall Street Math, Canada is the second largest country on Earth with unlimited levels, well, not unlimited, but massive levels of oil, natural gas, hydroelectricity, and minerals relative to the size of their population, about a tenth of the USA. Trudeau and Carney have messed it up so badly, Canada is now poorer than Alabama. Brave old soul, this says this is a direct result of government overspending, intentionally redistributing our wealth while shutting down our wealth of resources. Both CPC and Libs adopted and supported the UN Agenda 2030 for New World Order, not Canada. Stop voting for globalists, selected for you by globalists. Okay. This is not simply a result of government overspending. If a government overspends, it goes into debt. Debt can be paid off. But when you print money, the inflation shoots through the roof and the debt doesn't change. If anything, it gets higher. Well, no more Alabama jokes. Yeah. No, no more. Elbow up. Yeah. What's this? White papers policy. Importing almost 10 million third world immigrants, hosting them and their children will make you poorer than Alabama very quickly. Yeah, there's that. There's also the fact that you're driving investment out. When you have a monstrous industrial carbon tax, business moves. When you have anti-American policies, business moves. Because, like it or not, the world still runs on capitalism. And America is the biggest capitalist nation on the fucking planet. Alabama, Canada, yep. Right there. The Canada you grew up in. Canada you live in. Whoa. Yep. Canada finally hit #1 in the world. Yeah. And the statistic is actually debt as a ratio to GDP, I think. Canada, from Wealth Moose. Canada finally hit #1 in the world for household debt. We don't own more, we just owe more. Yeah, household debt as a share of the GDP, 103%. We owe more than we make. Fucking Turkey is only at 11%. China is at 62%. Fucking India is at 37%. Why the fuck would the Indians be coming here? There are no opportunities here. You just go further into debt. Stay the fuck home. Matter of fact, at that number, I might move to India. Yeah, they're just laughing at everybody who fucking supports them. From Gooch or Cooch? Cooch. Revealed Canada's insolvency numbers in the millions. Yep. Fair Share Food Bank. Yep. Freeland authorizes $517 billion in federal borrowing. Yeah, why was she the finance minister again? Also, why the fuck was she allowed to flee to Ukraine? Yeah. Okay, we talked about that story, so I don't need to cite that again. Oh, yeah, speaking of, Indian immigrants, Punjabi in this case. Remember how I mentioned the Punjabi youth gang issue in Nova Scotia? Yeah. Report. The Manitoba government is giving the Punjabi Chamber of Commerce $100,000 in tax dollars to help fight extortion happening to the Punjabi community perpetrated by Punjabi people. This is the most clever Indian scam to date. Yeah. I did say something Indian snake bounty? Yeah. If the Punjabis were deported, wouldn't this problem take care of itself? Yeah. It's a very good point, Rational Posts. So that was from Wiretap Media. I'm not even going to listen to this guy talk. He's obviously an idiot. Throw money at it, problem is solved. Just send the asteroid already, says Red the White. No, not for me, please. What is this one? You've had 2 years to digest facts, and you still don't understand that it's the Indian Hindu nationalist government attacking and committing state terrorism against Canada. Top Canadian law enforcement agency, the RCMP, has stated that Indian involvement behind crime syndicates in Canada is undisputed, as there is enough evidence to prove that. The police commissioner also stated that the Sikh community is the primary target. So the Indians are targeting the Sikhs on our soil. Is anyone fucking shocked? Yeah. And I did mention earlier talking about how X is the focus of derision and, desperation, really, by reporters. From Mark Nixon, CBC panelists are starting to melt down over Twitter influencers. That means we are over the target. Enjoy the popcorn. Listen to the things this woman is saying about conservative representatives. She is pointing out that they are acting in their own best interests and not those of their constituents who elected them. Canada is currently ruled by an absolute totalitarian uniparty, which is now importing foreign troops for what can only be darker reasons. Yeah, why would they want to take your guns if they're not going to do something you'd want to shoot them for?
They don't support the direction of the party. They don't understand what their leader is doing. He seems to be more focused on the Twitter influencers than he is on the constituents they hear about at the door. And in some cases, and we've seen with some of the floor crossers, they're more likely to win their seats as liberals. So there's a lot of stuff happening in the mix that is convincing people that Why are they sticking with Pierre Poilievre when they have the possibility of influencing things in a government that they don't disagree with? They don't.
Yeah, they don't disagree with the liberals, so why wouldn't they just be liberals? And I do apologize, GETTR, I've missed some chats. Let's see here. Or at least one, I think. Yep, no more Alabama jokes. Okay, the only one I missed is, as I recall, Canada's population increased 2.4% from 2022 to 2024. About 90% of that directly due to migration. It's way bigger than that. Hang on. What percentage of the Canadian population arrived in the last 5 years? Okay, so we'll have a look at these results from the Brave AI real quick. So the question I asked was, oh, that's not right. The question I asked was, what percentage of the Canadian population, okay, we'll scroll through that then, arrived in the last 5 years? GETTR, if they don't disagree with the Liberals, they're not Conservatives and they're not Canadians. They're treasonous scum who, wait for it, don't listen to their constituents. Right on. So 23% of Canada's population in 2021 were or had ever been a landed immigrant or permanent resident, according to the 2021 census. This figure represents the largest share of immigrants in over 150 years, surpassing the previous record of 22.3% set in 1921. The data includes all individuals who have ever been permanent residents or landed immigrants, not just those who arrived in the last 5 years. However, just over 1.3 million new immigrants settled in Canada between 16 and 21, making this the highest number of recent immigrants recorded in a Canadian census. They're doing a census this year. That number is going to get blown the fuck out of the water. While the exact percentage of the population that arrived in the last 5 years is not directly stated in the provided context, the 2021 census data shows that 15.9% of all immigrants living in Canada in 2021 were among the over 1.3 million who arrived from January 2016 to May 2021. I'm sorry, I asked for the last 5 years. Let's go with since 2022 and see if it gives me a different answer. As of January 1st, 2024, Canada's population reached 40,769,890, with a population growth of 3.2% just in the year from January 1st to January 1st, 23 to 24, the highest annual growth rate since 1957, driven almost entirely by international migration, including both permanent and temporary residents. So foreign workers, students, immigrants. Yeah. Okay. So apparently this one is trending in Canada, though I haven't seen it before I saw it listed as trending in Canada. This is from Cutest Japan Posts, which is also a nice follow. And it's nice to see that Japan is aware of our problems as we are of theirs. Yeah, we needed our own Amelia. I don't think Mountie Girl is what we want, though. From Alberta Sovereignty Now, Canada has a everything problem. She's a dumpster fire that the 905 voted for. Accounts for why we are seeing license plates from all over flooding into Alberta. Everyone's heard about the great taking. We're doing the great breaking. Away, that is. Yep, bye-bye. Yeah. I doubt this is true. Pickrell is what actually is trending in Kirkadia. Elbow up for great leader. Yeah. God, there's some good memes in here. We are Connecticut. Yeah. Fuck off. Yep. Not all of us feel this way. Yeah, sure, but okay, let's start at the bottom and work our way up here. Already another hour in. If only, yeah. From Table Salt, breaking bombshell. Refugees in Canada continue to get gold-plated supplemental healthcare even after they are rejected. This even includes nursing, old age home, rent. This coverage costs $750 million per year on top of regular health care, which costs $700 million a year.
Include, and I quote, $5 per year.
Okay, I'm going to turn that back up a touch. Let's see if that's too loud in my ear.
$1.5 billion a year for every single year. Correct?
Yes.
Yep. Okay. In 2016, the Liberals expanded this program to cover supplemental health benefits for asylum seekers. According to the government, these benefits include, and I quote, vision care, counseling, assistive devices, home visits, nursing homes, transportation, taxes, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and interpretation services.
Shit that you can't get as a Canadian citizen.
Now, your understanding is that these supplemental health benefits are covered for asylum claimants under the program, correct? Are these supplemental benefits a major contributor to the program's $1.5 billion projected cost?
The information we received says that for the last fiscal year, so 24-25, the supplemental benefits represented a bit over 50% of the total health expenditure of the program.
We're spending more on the immigrants than we are on our own citizens. Not a shock. GETTR, our Temu replacements are here and they're driving us into poverty. Elbows up. Trademark. Yeah.
And that category was growing as a contributor. So in our projection, that proportion would grow.
Wow.
And they expect it to be even more. Well, how could they fucking not?
The government's website states that refugee claimants remain eligible for supplemental health benefits even after their claim has been rejected by the Immigration and Refugee Board. Is that your understanding in the report?
I think, like we've mentioned in our opening remarks, our cost estimate includes the cost for all eligible beneficiaries, no matter where they are in the process.
Even after they're no longer in the process because they've been fucking rejected. Are you fucking kidding me? For the record, I hated that retarded slogan the moment I heard it. Yeah, I couldn't believe that, you know, obviously they paid Mike Myers to say that on Saturday Night Live, which made me giggle because Mike Myers hasn't lived in this country for, what, 30 years?
And we've modeled, according to the guidance we've received for IRCC, about when beneficiaries would exit the program. And so
when they are rejected, they should automatically leave the program. Doesn't matter if they get deported or not. This part of your job is over. That's where your responsibility to pay for their healthcare ends. After that, if they want healthcare, they should be forced to pay for it themselves. Imagine what would happen if they were told that. Either A, they'd kick up a stink and say, no, it's not fair, and be given it back, or they'd kick up a stink, say, no, that's not fair, and be told if you don't like it, you're free to return to your home country.
in the case of successful claimants, that would be when they would become eligible for provincial or territorial health benefits. In the case of unsuccessful claimant, that would either be when they leave Canada after exhausting all avenues of appeal.
They've been rejected. If they have the ability to appeal and remain on those benefits, they have no incentive to leave. They should be the moment the first asylum claim is rejected, they should be removed from the country. Don't necessarily send them back to the country they came from. Maybe it actually isn't safe for them there. And I'm fine with that. But find a safe third country that will take them until the process is completed.
They are judged ineligible at the IRB and ineligible for pre-removal risk assessment, or they've withdrawn or abandoned their claim.
This one didn't make a lot of sense to me. Maybe reviewing it now will, but this is about government funding. From Rational Posts, we'll pause this here. Remember the time most government programs were funded through voluntary GoFundMes instead of through the violence of taxation, inflation, and intergenerational government debt? Where you asked if you wanted this. Yeah, this is about the Muslim youth gang problem.
Give us examples of exactly how you're going to be
And that is, in fact, Gary.
able to use this funding.
Thank you. So we have multiple components of this project. One of the examples I will be giving
I'd like to know who the fuck you are and why the fuck you're speaking over the public safety minister.
is to provide the youth with the opportunity to have access to counseling services, therapy services that is culturally and religiously sensitive.
So in other words, you're going to pay a Muslim imam to do his job for Muslims, so that those same Muslims don't join a Muslim gang. Nice try. Indian snake bounty scam, anybody?
That speaks to them through their language, and have diversity of team to deliver these services to them, which is something that one of the main components of this project. Another component, which is also another important component of the project, is the training that we are developing to first responders and mainstream organizations how to navigate dealing with youth and youth from immigrant community.
He wants to say Muslim, but he says immigrant. Yeah. Fuck off. And the report from Wiretap Media reads, the Canadian taxpayers' new $1.2 million Muslim youth gang prevention program will be used to teach kids how to learn Arabic and be more Muslim instead of being Canadian. Yeah. You really want to have your mind blown, go read Section 2 of the Income Tax Act, then get the definition section of the Act 238 or something. Look up the word taxpayer, then use Black's, oh god, sovereign citizen, fuck off, Black's Law Dictionary. Holy shit, I wish I hadn't seen this, Rational. Talk about putting me in a bad mood. Yeah, this is what colonization looks like. This is what treason-abetted colonization looks like. This is our government paying these people to colonize our country. Didger says be right back. Yeah, no worries. I'll be here. All fucking day, apparently. But, you know, as long as they get the piece of paper, they're just like us, right? Just as Canadian as we are. This is from, we'll pause this here. This is from the Women Waffens. He's just as Canadian as me.
Oh, what are you gonna do? Holy, he's just as Canadian as me! The right fucking way! Look at him! He has a magic piece of paper!
Yeah, he's got a magic piece of paper. So obviously he's Canadian. Speaking of people you'd never really expect to be in Canada, oh shit. This one's from my friend Newsfist. This one threw me for a fucking loop. And I will agree with Newsfist, bruh. And I did, in fact, bruh. Yeah, from Melanie King. Please do not tell me Ghislaine Maxwell, and I'm going to pause this here. Ghislaine Maxwell is out here with her brother living her best life. We are truly in the last days. Jesus is returning, and that is a fact. Our entire lives are one big psyop at ATP. I don't know what ATP is. I would have thought it was at the moment, but yeah. Just listen to this.
Listen up.
Gillen? Do I know you? You know Gillen?
No, sorry.
No? I used to order hella pizza off of her.
Oh, really?
She always delivered, yeah.
Oh,
Yes, that was exactly who you thought that was. This is Maxwell. If you look at the woman in the video, it's the same woman. When he said her name, she actually looked. Same bridge of the nose and...
Okay, to be fair, if someone is walking past me, turns their head, looks at me, and says something, I'm going to turn and look at them. Doesn't really matter if they say my actual name or not. Back, and liberal white women have the same crazed look and attitude in Canada and the US. How about that? Yeah, wicked, isn't it? That's actually not a liberal white woman, though. That's actually one of ours. Yeah, I know. She's being a cunt, but yeah.
Same spacing in the teeth.
Even AI says it's the same person. The guy with her in the video is her brother. Looks exactly the same. We already know through the PDF files that J.E. did not hang himself. He was removed the day before. And guess who was president at that time? And they want us to believe that the woman they moved to a luxury prison, this person is that person. Nope, she's living her best life in Ontario, Canada. And how was she able to do this? Through the same administration that let J.E. leave as well. Sometimes I wish I wasn't awake because the information that we receive is just mind-blowing. It is absolutely mind-blowing how corrupt our government is.
Yep.
Listen up.
Ask Grok and it says it's real. We're cooked. No, the video in the post is not AI generated. It's not deep fake or fully synthetic. Okay, so she's just responding to people. Who protects her in Canada? Who the fuck do you think protects her in Canada? Everybody. She's protected in Canada because she lives in Canada. It's a safe country, for the most part, for now. Yeah. That actually does look like Ghislaine, not gonna lie. Yeah, well, as I said to Newsfist, he said, bruh. I could not help but say, bruh, and he went, bruh. At which point I went, Kunstler Kenneth Krieg went, bruh. Yeah. Gallows humor. I mean, if this is true, and fuck does that ever look like her, then it's just Canada continuing to be a haven for criminals. The woman that showed up for the deposition definitely is not her. Why wouldn't she be free? Yeah. I hope their brazenness catches up to them. It won't. Speaking of brazen women, let's talk about Melanie Jolie. Who I dislike far more than Angelina Jolie. And I dislike Angelina Jolie. Who the fuck cuts their tits off before they get cancer? This was Jolie yesterday in Toronto. This is from Ryan Garrettson. She says, Canada, there's a video some dude made where he goes around America and finds all the astronauts who blew up in the Challenger living their best lives and keeping their names. Are you fucking serious? Shit, man, drop a link in chat. Let me see that thing. Let's see. Yeah, this is Jolie yesterday in Toronto. She says, Canada is going to double down on EV production. Why would we do that? We're just going to ship Chinese ones in. Once again, not listening to what consumers want, but will use regulations to force a market to succeed. It can't. She also says they are going to use defense procurement money to attract new auto investments. No, she actually does say that towards the end of the video. I'm so tired of governments controlling every single thing. EVs are not more environmentally friendly. That's a lie. EVs are about controlling movement. That's true. And if at some point they start telling people that you have to have an EV or you can't have a vehicle, then they're going to doom a pile of rural Canadians to death.
To embrace the vision that we are and we will continue to build the best cars in the world for the world. And what I mean by that is we're doubling down on electrification because that's where capital is going in the world. Because by...
Listen, you stupid wench. You don't follow trends. If you want to be a leader, you have to get ahead of them. You have to find a better trend. Didger. But I discovered during the stream that thousands of images and videos I collected didn't copy correctly during my backup. They're now gone. Yeah, it is what it is. And given the particular video, it's quite possible, well, even for me, that sounds a bit conspiracy theory. The idea that there was some code added that prevented proper... Yeah. Didger says, I'll poke around for it, though. Should be able to find it out there somewhere. Sure. Yeah, just hit me up on Twitter or whatever with the link. Or if you find it before the stream's over.
Within the next 5 years, 40% of all the cars sold in the world will be EVs.
That just means they're going to be selling fewer cars because people don't want EVs. I don't want a fucking EV. Fucking electricity is expensive enough as it is.
This year, the European Union is actually, within the European Union, there are more EVs sold than internal combustion engine.
Who gives a shit? There are loads of government incentives for the EV. So of course they're going to be more popular. They're not getting cheaper for people. Once people start to realize, hey, your secondhand EV is trash, you can't actually sell it, yeah.
Cars. So this is about skating where the puck is going.
It's a nice try to pretend to be Canadian, Melanie. Don't use cultural references you've never used before in a speech. That just makes you look fake and gay. With an H, by the way. That word.
This is about making sure that we are at the forefront of the development in the sector.
But you aren't. Tesla's way ahead of you. China's way ahead of you. European Union companies are way ahead of you. Hell, there was a company called Zen, Z-E-N-N, in, what, the 2000s? In Quebec. That was way the fuck ahead of you. You know why they folded? Because the government didn't think they were worth investing in. Fuck right off.
And that's why we'll work with companies to make sure that we can help them.
Yeah, help your corporate buddies.
Do that shift.
Uh-huh, sure, yeah. Just what I want. I want to be driving a Bombardier EV.
And embrace change. And meanwhile, we don't want to be hostage of our geography.
Okay, I got some news for you, bitch. We are hostage of our geography because we live in the frozen fucking north. Okay? We're basically the outback, only snowy. Everyone is hostage to the geography they live in. You don't get a choice there. And as far as most people seem to be concerned with EVs, and I'm kind of leaning towards agreeing with them, seeing the other shit your government's getting up to, this is much more about creating controllable populations. Because an EV can have a government-controlled off switch. Actually, most cars now can have a government-controlled off switch. The only upside I see to this push for the EVs is that at some point, someone is going to come along who's going to go, we have some of the most efficient internal combustion engines in the world available. We can keep that efficiency and ditch a pile of the electronics so people can do their own work on them. The minute somebody has the ability to put a company that does that together, and if they're smart, includes a tutorial service or some sort of resource like that for people to be able to do their own work, and makes it easy for people to be able to do their own work on their own car, yeah, the EV, it's going to be, there's going to be a massive split between, hey, I've got a simple ICE car, ICE, or I can have a very complex EV. My ICE car, I can do the work on, and I can sell as a secondhand vehicle when I'm done with it. The technology doesn't change. It might be able to be upgraded, but it doesn't fundamentally change. Or you can have this super complex EV that you cannot hope to fucking touch as a backyard mechanic. Which, when the battery life is done, it's done. There is no, I can replace this battery. No, because the battery technology changes every few years too. And inside of, 15 years, the batteries that are in the EVs now will be obsolete. And probably high-end, expensive items. Yeah, when 90% of the cost of your vehicle is the fucking battery that goes in it? Yeah. The only people pushing for EVs are activists and our politicians. Yeah, absolutely. And people who are under the impression, okay, I'm going to end up munching away on those Twizzlers if I pick them up.
We want to be able also to export around the world. We have 52.
Do we? Are you sure? Because we just signed a deal to import Chinese EVs. Why are we going to start building them? Or are we going to give China some room to build in our country? And then pretend that we're exporting them? Shit. I think it was
that puck is going. And meanwhile, we don't want to be hostage of our, we know that we have some of the most productive plants in the world.
What are you talking about? They're all getting shut down. Oh, wait, you mean the foreign-owned?
Of course, we're home to one of the, three of the most important car parts companies.
Look at the things that she forced herself to memorize for this speech.
In the world, Magna, Linamar, and Martin Ria.
She forced herself to memorize the names of car parts companies. And still mispronounce them.
But also, we know that Honda and Toyota's plants are...
Oh, that's great. Yeah, Honda and Toyota. Awesome. Great Canadian companies.
Some of the most productive in the world, if not the most. And the Dodge Charger this year, which is built in Windsor, won the best car in North America.
1 second. Huh, okay. So the Charger is actually still being built there. And it did win North American Car of the Year at the Detroit Auto Show in January. Oh, they're actually launching a third production shift of that plant. Cool. Dodge Charger Scat Pack. I want to have a look at this thing real quick. Since, I'd like to take a break from that. Ooh, she pretty. What's it say? The Dodge Charger Scat Pack is a high-performance, gasoline-powered muscle sedan. Yeah, thanks, bitch. Okay, let's just show you what she's praising up as one of the most popular cars. Best car in the world. Yeah, it's a fucking muscle car. It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's a muscle car, and it's not electric. I hate the idea of four-door Charger. Always thought it was wrong. I'm glad to see they have a two-door. That looks ugly. Yeah, right? It's a gorgeous car. This chick is...
So, through this auto strategy, what we're doing is we're rewarding companies that are investing in us, in our workers. And so Honda and Toyota have actually increased their production since the beginning of the trade war. And they're now 77% of all.
What trade war? You mean the one you guys started with the US? Yeah, fuck off. Let's see. If Jolene Party truly wanted to help the Canadian economy, they would get the government out of it, stop taxing Canadians into poverty. They can't do that because if they don't tax Canadians into poverty, who's going to take care of all the failed asylum seekers in our country? I want my car, I want my car, I want my car. Yeah, speaking of which, did you get that car after? Unscrew the news. Do you think she is just this stupid, or is she just being forced to say these words? Oh, she's not being forced. And you're right about the first half, too. Yeah. I'm not the smartest guy around, but this chick is pure stupidity. Her lies are poorly constructed. Fortunately for her, most Canadians are idiots. Yeah, EVs only mean Big Brother is watching, control over travel, forced transportation, 15-minute city compliance. They should all be in prison. Traitors all of them. Yeah, 343 traitors all. She's bilingual like AOC, says Terry. English and stupid. Yeah. She's a polyglot. Not smart in any fucking language she speaks. Oh, yeah, something else I wanted to bring up too, since I talked about it yesterday, was Danielle Smith's immigration referendum. Didger says, not that car though. Gotta wait till Tuesday to check it out. Ugh, sucks. So Premier Danielle Smith is now promising a referendum to get immigration under control. Yet in 2024, Smith said she wanted to double Alberta's population to 10 million. And I remember her saying that. Yeah, let's have a look at this real quick.
That's why I've said, let's have an aggressive target to double our population. I'm going to put this out there because I've said that in the throne speech, and I want people to understand how important that is. We have to be that bastion of liberty, and people are going to want to come here, and we want to embrace them, and we want to be able to build this place out so that we can actually have the political clout in Alberta that we deserve. Because right now...
Okay, you're a dumb bitch putting the cart before the horse. you want immigration, so you're going to build things now. No, you have to let the people who want the things show up because they will build the things they want. So if you want to be a bastion of freedom, let people choose. You dumb cunt. What do we got here? New research from Kearney's Liberals, because of course it is. Yeah, the polling in Canada, my God, it's getting so transparently bullshit. New research from the Kearney Liberals Immigration Department has found that most Canadians are unconvinced by claims from businesses that they need temporary foreign workers due to local labor shortages. Right? The things they're putting out in polling versus the things they're putting out from research that they do themselves, they don't mesh. 52% of Canadians see the US as the bigger threat in the world. Are you fucking retarded? No, we don't. So yeah, this most Canadians unconvinced by claims from businesses they need temporary foreign workers due to local labor shortages. It's bullshit. What's going on is a lot of these companies are claiming they've advertised for workers in a local area by doing something like we're hiring signs this big taped to their front door, and then still not hiring the people who show up to apply for those jobs. Yeah. It's absolute bullshit. And I pointed out that might have to do with the fact that a lot of Canadians are aware of how easy it is to manipulate a government program after we saw CERB applications that were known to be fraudulent approved anyway. Chalk Shark says, we have 6 Tim Hortons within a 10-minute drive. If you can't keep those locations open without TFWs, perhaps you have too many locations. Yeah, from our Sky, we noticed. We're not coming back until they go back. Want us to buy Canadian? Hire Canadians. Canadian workers, foreign workers, yep. Canada's youth are being locked out of the job market. I'm pressing X to doubt. Hire Canadians, let seniors and kids work in the Timmies and McDicks. Stop squeezing everyone else out with Indians and Pakistanis. Absolutely. That's right, Canada. We did that. Dear God, he actually matches that fucking turban so well. Oh, okay. Well, if the rest of the world is going to laugh at us anyway, we might as well have a comedian do it. Let's look at Alex Stein. From the real Mr. Bench, congratulations to Canada. You've hooted. Now get the rewards. International mockery.
Able to sue, but speaking of people that are mentally challenged, this guy in Canada was able to sue because the barber on their website didn't have some fake made-up gender that he could click. So this is really happening in Canada. This barbershop got in a lot of trouble, and I just can't believe it because on top of all this makes me so mad. The guy doesn't have any hair. He's got no hair. Why is he on a barber's website anyway? Just play the clip.
My name is Alex Frederick Mignot. My pronouns are they, them.
Alex Frederick Mignot says,
the fuck were you even doing on a barber's website? Ladies and gentlemen, skinny Jessica Yaniv. Don't remember Jessica Yaniv? The guy who would call around to various female waxing places saying that he wanted, I think, wanted their testicles bikini waxed. And when the immigrant owner said no, threatened them with Human Rights Tribunal. You know, the same BC Human Rights Tribunal that just told somebody that they owed $750,000 for saying there are only 2 genders. Yeah. Fuck these people. Geekab says, Canada used to be versus is now. And we'll make this one full screen so we can see it properly. Well, okay. We've opened the link in a new tab so we can get a better look. What Canada used to be, peace, order, and good governance. Good governance, not government. Is now DEI mandates and racial quotas. Used to be British and French heritage. Now is XY and YY sports and spaces. I like that you're using that. That's clever. There are only 2 genders, XY and YY. Freedom of religion, anti-merit-based opportunities, self-reliance and work ethic, net zero and nitrogen crackdown, meritocracy and equal opportunity, open border mass migration, family and community bonds, speech and media censorship, freedom of expression, parental rights suppression, controlled immigration, national unity and fiscal prudence, lawful gun rights revocations, euthanasia, limited taxation, COVID lockdowns, respect for nature, vaccine passports, Nature Resource Prosperity, Illegal Emergencies Act, compassionate, pragmatic, acceptance, tolerance. No, now they're just, yeah, none of this was what we should have had. Patriotism, now they're shaming whites and Christians. This is the face of the downfall of the West, remember that. Yeah, absolutely. You're not wrong. Very much not wrong. Yeah. Okay, speaking of bullshit Canadian polling, here's a lovely one. Did you know Canada is more united now than ever before? Yeah, and this is my own post that I had to tag. And today, in Don't Believe Your Lying Eyes news from Ryan Garrettson, Next Level Gaslighting, Ipsos poll suggests Canada is more united now than it was in 2019. Yeah. What were the responses to Ryan here? Also, bear that name in mind. Few Canadians left in media. United against Alberta, please. Lots to be united for. Yeah, we're now poorer than Alabama. Most Canadians in Canada, yep. Weapons of mass deception. Ipsos called me one time and then hung up on me when I said I was intending to vote Conservative in the next election. First and only poll call I've ever gotten. I think I've had that happen to me as well. Nothing like a DEI hire telling us how united our country is. Yeah. It do be like that, Mr. Stancil. Let's see. Got a couple of maid stories here. Before we go to the maid stories, though, I want to show how poor the sportsmanship of Canadian women can be. And I mean Canadian women. From The Rock, the Censored Rock. The Snow Mexicans are not okay. Well, first off, they're being handed a stuffy, so that's pretty bad. Imagine getting handed a stuffed animal immediately after losing a gold medal game. Well, clearly they need some sort of emotional support. Watch these fucking bitches. Watch the expression on their faces. You're number 2 in the fucking world. What the fuck are you moaning about? Jesus Christ. I get excited when I realize I'm 11 millionth on fucking YouTube. Right? Have some fucking perspective, you bitches. And show some fucking decency. You are there to represent this country. You know what? I take it back what I said about the Swedes. Maybe they were right. Could you look more disinterested, you sick cunts? Speaking of sick cunts, Canada now has a peace and quiet IO of its own. Yeah, I'm not kidding. Let me just grab that link because I want to save it for myself for later. And I'm going to throw it in chat. The qualifier of the question is, are you mad at Donald Trump for tariffs? Elbows up. I feel like a stranger in my own country sometimes. The goalie knows this is bullshit, LOL. Settle down, Ardent. In an hour, they'll start to recover. I suppose. And some asshole named Ardent Party has thrown a link in chat. Which shouldn't be that one, actually. Nope. Let me grab that one properly. There we go. That's the one I meant to throw in. peaceandquiet.io/Canada. So, from Retard Mode, who I should have been following all this time, Canada is now live with 25 data layers. Seemed like a lost cause to me, but maybe this will open people's eyes. What I should add, remove, or change. Australia, Italy, Spain, France, and Germany coming soon. Find some peace and quiet, Canada, eh? Let's have a look through this website real quick here. Blow this up to full size. The PQ index. Let's see, areas to avoid. What are our options for filters? Muslim population's not important. Kebab. There's actually one that I'm looking for. Is there a barber shop down here? No. Okay. Actually, let me change that again. Let me just refresh this. Okay, we've got all the filters on. Let's have a look at Newfoundland. Look at that. There's even bad spots in St. John's. Well, not bad, but yeah. It's okay. What is the worst part of the island? It's probably going to be St. John's. Anything bad in Labrador? Oh, hang on. There's something down here. Forteau and Lanceclair, yeah. Okay, let's try Burin, as I'm on the Burin Peninsula. Yeah, we'll go with that. Nothing. That's nice and quiet in Burin. Let's see what Toronto looks like. Oh, I did that wrong. There we go. Whoa! That's big chunks of Toronto you should avoid. Wonder what Brampton looks like. Yep. Oh, that was Brampton. Yikes. Yeah. Yeah. What a lovely, lovely place this country is turning into. Okay. Okay. Back to... Okay, let me get that grabbed properly. Throw it into my bookmarks so I can look at it later. Okay. Let's do this one first. Then I'm going to have another one to do after. They're both on made, so I do apologize. It's infuriating. Didger says he'll be right back. I might very well be in an interlude by the time you get back, Didger. So a 92-year-old was pushed toward MAID after expressing he wanted to live. Multiple doctors pushed and offered, asking if he wanted to ascend into eternity and release his son from being a burden. Another one in Kingston, Ontario. Coercion is out of control. Enough is enough. MAID has to be stopped.
Long.
Do not crash again, computer. No, for fuck's sake. That window crashed, I guess. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys remember how we talked to you guys about Mrs. B? She was the one that was coerced into death when she didn't want MAID. She said no to MAID, and then they maided her the same day. We have another case of a 92-year-old man in Kingston, Ontario, Mr. Buckner, who was taken to the emergency room on January 15th, and he was there in a hallway because our healthcare system has failed for so long, for 2 days. And while he was there, some doctors came up to him and asked him and his family, and they were, of course, just, doing the whole song and dance of like, it's compassion, it's empathy. But really what happened is these individuals stood at the foot of his bed and asked if he wanted to, and I quote, ascend into eternity, and that he wouldn't be a burden on his son anymore.
It appears the right-wing Canadian ex-accounts have received their marching orders. Attack MAID. While I do think it should only be available in terminal cases, it's kind of sick to see a coordinated effort and shows these accounts all work together to undermine Canada. Really? Who are you again? Profile summary for you. A company tag. Really? Why are you searching for mentions of me? This is interesting. Names Corp runs a low-key X account with under 100 followers, primarily posting original thoughts on cultural critiques, political inconsistencies, and social behaviors like substance impacts and gender identity struggles. Their commentary often draws from personal experiences in long-term relationships and observations of societal shifts toward isolation and profit-driven health declines. It's becoming clear that mentally ill young men are attracted to trans ideology with the idea that they can shed the person they hate and replace it with something else. Of course, this isn't reality, and when the same self-hatred persists, they get angry and then violent. And yet somehow this same person thinks that the right-wing Canadian X accounts have received marching orders. Okay. I'll say this now, and I'll say it in text. Dude, if you'd ever like to talk to a... No, you know what? Fuck you, because I suspect that wouldn't work out. Yeah, considering you already think I'm a bot, why the hell would I bother? Fair point. I haven't been attacking this pro-death regime for years. You just haven't been paying attention. Or I've been, sorry. Yeah, sounds like an agitator account. Off by. Be right back. Okay. Yeah, this is going to be the last story I've got here anyway. And I'm hoping this is a bit of a misleading headline from Life News, but I'm not 100% sure. So the headline reads, Canadian children may be euthanized without parental consent. I'll read that again. Canadian children may be euthanized without parental consent. A report by the Special Joint Committee on Medical Assistance in Dying why that's listed as AMAD as opposed to... Yeah, anyway. Was tabled in the House of Commons February 15th calling for a drastic expansion of euthanasia in Canada. Among other recommendations... Oh, that's actually worse for you guys. Among other recommendations, the report recommends that euthanasia be expanded to include children, quote, mature minors. How long before that same language creeps its way into the age of consent laws? Recommendation 19 of the report states that the Government of Canada establish a requirement that, where appropriate, the parents or guardians of a mature minor be consulted in the course of the assessment process for MAID, but that the will of a minor who is found to have the requisite decision-making capacity ultimately take priority. Why don't we let 5-year-olds drink beer? Why don't we let 15-year-olds drive? Why don't we let 12-year-olds vote? All of these questions have the same answer, because they're not of a maturity to be trusted to do so. This means that parents or guardians may or may not be consulted in the euthanasia death of a child that is deemed capable of decision-making. To understand recommendation 19 better, we have to go back to the policy developed by the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto on euthanasia for, quote, mature minors. That was published as a report 7.5 years ago. It was a report in the Journal of Medical Ethics. Let me just open this in a new tab for a second. Medical assistance in dying at a pediatric hospital, and it is in fact from 2018. Jesus fucking Christ. It's from before COVID. The article says Sick Kids Hospital Toronto will euthanize children with or without parental consent. According to an article by Sharon Kirky published by Sun Media on October 9th, 2018, the ethicists at the Children's Hospital believe there is no difference between killing someone and letting them die. The working group said it wasn't convinced that there is a meaningful difference for the patient between being consensually assisted in dying and being consensually allowed to die in the case of refusing life-sustaining interventions. Sick Children's Hospital draft policy applies the same ethics for mature minors making medical decisions as making death decisions. If you're mature enough to decide that you want to be a girl instead of a boy, you're also mature enough to say that you want to be killed because you made a bad decision. There's a fucking horror show coming in this fucking country. In Ontario, a minor can provide consent for treatment or withdrawal of treatment if they understand the, quote, reasonably foreseeable consequences of, of their decision. Kirky explained that the Hospitals for Sick Children draft policy would permit children to decide to be killed by euthanasia without the consent of the parents. The draft policy argues the same rules should apply to maids since there is no meaningful ethical or practical distinction from the patient's perspective between assisted dying and other procedures that result in the end of a life, such as palliative sedation, where people sleep until they die, or withdrawing or withholding life-sustaining treatments. The draft policy set out what can be expected if Canada permits euthanasia for children, categorized as mature minors. Children who are deemed by their physician, so the doctor decides whether or not how much does a physician get from her medical assistance in dying procedure in Canada. The fee a physician receives for medical assistance in dying procedure in Canada varies by province and is not nationally standardized. In BC, as of May 2018, physicians receive $280 for the procedure, plus an additional $125 for medication pickup and return if needed, and a travel allowance for remote areas. The cost analysis from the PMC in Ontario estimated physician fees based on Ontario's schedule of benefits, with primary care physician assessments costing $77.20 and follow-up visits $38.35. Why would you have a follow-up visit for MAID? Other provinces' fees are generally aligned with provincial physician billing rates, with no universal national fee. The federal government does not set a standard fee. Instead, provinces manage compensation through their health plans. It is important to know that there is no fee to the patient for MAID services. I didn't ask. So in other words, physicians in Canada profit by doing MAID. We have at least one doctor that's done somewhere in the region of 300 to 400 procedures. So they've made tens of thousands of dollars doing this. So children who are deemed by their physician as competent to make medical decisions will be also deemed competent to decide, with or without the consent of their parents, to die by lethal injection. Now that the Canadian government is considering child euthanasia and euthanasia of incompetent persons who requested death in an advance directive, the requirement to consent to die has become only an option. Every time a door is open to new reasons for killing, it always leads to another door. Opening the door to child euthanasia also opens the door to euthanasia without consent. So how long before, and we know damned well it wouldn't be the Muslims, because the government would never dare to do it, but how long before prisoners in jails are euthanized without consent? But it's not the death penalty, because they've already been sentenced to something else. They're just, taking up space, and we need to save money. Fucking real. Okay, folks, that's gonna have to be it for me for the political stuff today. I can't face anymore. Okay. If you would like to support me, you can do so through Ko-Fi. I'm working on the merch. There's other things taking up my time, IRL as well, and I'm distracted by a bunch of stuff from doing that particular task. Okay, I am going to take a short break, which requires me to put my interlude graphic up. GETTR isn't back yet, which is absolutely perfect. I am going to take a 15 to 20 minute break. Then I will come back and do some gaming. As I was saying, if you would like to support me, you can do so financially through Ko-Fi. If you would like to support me on any other level than financial, you can do so by chatting with me, whether here or at any of the socialization links that you can find. Socialize your local content creator. They need the feedback. Also, if you chat, comment, like, share, follow. Please do not subscribe on Rumble. Please do not rant on Rumble. That money is being wasted as far as I am concerned. I would far prefer that if you want to support me financially, go to my Ko-Fi. If you want to support me even digitally, just anywhere else. Any of the other things you can do. And if you do decide to support me financially on a regular basis, you will end up in the ticker at with your fellow supporters Simon JJ, Sadie Sapientier, and Zenrab7. Possibly also someone else, and I think I made the mistake of not asking what their Rumble handle was at the time they decided to support me regularly. And oops, yeah. So I did correct that today, and we'll check for that message later. Which reminds me. Other than that, I hope you have good days. I hope you continue to have good days. And as always, rise and rise again until lambs become lions. Bye bye.